Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Amber and I'm so excited to have you here. It's the best time of the month. It's where we get to pick our TBR. I did get kicked out of my chair because my dogs decided... Yes, you are the center of attention. We all know that. I do have a lifestyle YouTube channel as well. It's called Life with Amber Joy. I like to post just kind of regular stuff about my life there, but I've kind of gone away from posting book specific stuff. So that's why I created this channel, so I can just yap about all things books, because I have been on a weight loss journey. I've been on a CPAP journey. I have sleep apnea. And throughout that journey of kind of, you know, just being able to get my life back, I've discovered such a love for books. And so I decided that because I love books so much, I just need it needs its own channel. Like it needs its own space to just kind of grow and, you know, flourish. So that's what we're gonna do over here on this channel. This is gonna be my first TBR video for this specific channel, this bookish channel. I do have a couple other TBR videos on my other channel, so if you want to catch up on my old kind of TBR videos, that's where you'll find them. But I'm gonna be posting my TBR videos and all things book content over on this channel now, so it'll have its own cute little space. The way that I like to do my TBR videos is with a jar here with TBR prompts. My dad actually made me this jar. It's so cute. It's not really a jar, it's a box. But I like to pick TBR prompts from here, and then I pick based off of the selection of books on my cart here. I do acquire books a lot faster than I actually read them. So I do tend to read between like 8 to 12, sometimes more books a month. So I am still reading like a good chunk of books a month, but I also have a hobby of buying books, not just reading them. So I do feel like for the month of June, maybe I need to like slow my roll a little bit on acquiring some books. Maybe that should be like, you know, a goal that I should set for myself. Anywho, today's about enjoying the books that we already have that we have not read. If you can't tell, my main genre that I like to read in is fantasy. I love escaping the real world and just going to somewhere totally fake and unrealistic and glorious and amazing. So I do have a lot of fantasy books on here, but I also do like to dive into some contemporary fiction, contemporary romance. I love a little woman writing like a dream man that's not realistic. So I do have quite a few of those on here. I have some cowboy romance. You know, we're dabbling in a little bit of everything. I also love dystopian books. I am obsessed with dystopian books. I actually filmed a dystopian reading vlog that I'm still in the midst of editing, so I will have that up at some point. But I had the most fun filming that video because it was all dystopian books and it was just a blast. Without further ado, let's get into picking our TBR prompts. I typically pick between 6 and 7, so we'll kind of see where we fall on that today. Without further chatter, let's get into picking our TBR prompts. There's a giant hair in here. We're gonna pretend that was not in here. I also don't even know how that got in here. Prompt number 1 is a fairy loot book. I love fairy loot books, and honestly, I don't have all of my fairy loot books on here by any means. I actually have acquired quite a few fairy loot books. I just recently got onto their 3-book subscription service, which I am so freaking excited about. But I've also purchased quite a few from Pango. Like I said, they're not all on here, so I might have to like think about ones that I have downstairs as well. But regardless, I'm just excited that we get to read a beautiful book from Fairy Loot. Okay, so I know I have a Fairy Loot book back here. The Nightblood Prince. This one I did get off of Pango. And then I did see 2 more up front. So I do have The Sun and the Star Maker. The other book I have that is also a Fairy Loot book is Starside by Alex Astor. This is not the Fairy Loot edition here. This is the Target edition. I got put onto the Fairy Loot list after I had already pre-ordered the Target edition. So I technically have 2 special edition versions of them. My Fairy Loot version is just downstairs. So I can pick between these 3. Let's pull them all off so we can kind of see. So this is the Sun and the Star Maker. It's gorgeous. It's by Rachel Griffin. I got this one off of Pango. And then we have Starside here by Alex Astor. Again, this is the Target special edition one. Ooh, there's some, you know, I mean, any Fairy Loot book I feel like is just such a great option. It's extra hard because I want to read all 3 of these. So I kind of have an idea of what these are all about, but I'm just going to read the synopses again. So The Sun and the Star Maker is a YA book, I believe. And it says, once upon a time, the sun fell in love with a star maker. Nestled deep in the snowy mountains of the Lost Range, the village of Reverie is a small miracle. Beyond the reach of the sun, Reverie is dependent upon the magic of the mysterious Star Maker. Every morning, he trudges across a vast glacier and pulls in sunlight over the peaks, providing the village with the light it needs to survive. Aurora Finch grew up on the tales of the Star Maker's magic, never imagining she'd one day meet him. But on the morning of her wedding, a fateful encounter in the frostbitten woods changes everything. The Star Maker senses a powerful magic within her and demands she come study under his guidance. With her newfound ability tied to the survival of the village, Aurora is swept away to his ice-covered castle and far from everything she's ever known. The Star Maker is as cold and distant as the mountain itself, leaving Aurora to explore his enchanted castle alone. Yet the more she discovers about the sorcerer, the stronger their attraction grows, pulling her closer to the secrets he refuses to share. But a deadly frost approaches, and Aurora must uncover what the Star Maker is hiding before she is left in the endless winter that even the sun cannot touch. That sounds really good. Okay, that's one option. Then we have The Nightblood Prince by Molly X. Chang. And this says, 2 princes, 1 prophecy, a fate she cannot outrun. The night Fae was born, a prophecy was made. She would one day become the empress of all empresses. Torn from her family as a child and raised in a palace to one day marry the crown prince of the most powerful empire in the land, Fae has only ever known loneliness. When the opportunity arises to seize her own destiny for the first time in her life, Fae sets out to hunt a legendary tiger, knowing it must cost her everything. What she doesn't expect is to fall under the mercy of Yeksu, the beautiful runaway prince from a rival kingdom. Blessed by the night, harboring a dangerous magic and capable of commanding an army of deadly vampires, Yeksu could be the key to Fae gaining more than just her freedom. But to outrun destiny, Fae must spark a wave of events that will change the world as she knows it. Torn between 2 princes and plagued by nightmares of bloodshed, she finds that the stars might be more inescapable and more irresistible than she ever considered before. Oh, that sounds so good too. All right, and then last but not least, we have Starside by Alex Astor. I have actually not read the Lightlark series, so if I pick this one up, this is going to be the first Alex Astor. Oh no, that's a lie. It's not the first Alex Astor book that I read. It'll be the first like fantasy Alex Astor book. I did read A Summer in the City and I loved that book. I gave that 5 stars. I read it last summer and it was incredible. I'm not gonna read the synopsis of this book just because this one is very long, but basically I know that this is like Starside, it's like its own universe, and you're not born with power, you have to earn it, and you can like wield swords and stuff like that. And then there's some element of trials, and the trials occur every 50 years when the gates open, and then people can go in and fight for stuff. So that sounds really fun. This edition is so pretty too. Target has really been stepping up their game with their special editions. Total side note, but I literally don't know which one I'm in the mood for. If I start this one, I am starting a new series, although the second book is not coming out until the fall, so I don't necessarily like have to pick up the next book right away, nor can I. So, you know, that's a bummer if I really like this book. I'm trying to think of other series that I'm currently in the middle of. I'm reading Zodiac Academy right now. That can't be the only fantasy series I'm in the middle of. Oh no, Powerless. I started the Powerless series. You know what? Because of that, I think I'm gonna hold off on Starside just because Powerless is like a trials type series and I don't necessarily want 2 books that have a trials plot to it necessarily. So I think I'm going to pick between The Sun and the Star Maker and the Nightblood Prince. I think I'm going to pick the Nightblood Prince. I don't know why, but this one is just calling to me. And I've really been interested in getting more into like the fantasy that's more like Asian inspired. So I think this is going to be our first pick. All right, prompt number 2 is an Illumicrate book. Oh my gosh. How exciting. Okay, I also have a subscription to Illumicrate and I just recently got on this one, but I have bought a couple, again, books from Pango, but I believe the only one on my cart that is from Illumicrate is Thistlemarsh. I do have my May Illumicrate and Afterlight book like box that I haven't opened right there, but that's because I'm gonna do a whole like recent books that I've hauled type video and I want to open it on that. Yeah, I think that means we have to go with Thistlemarsh, which I'm not mad about at all. So this was the Illumicrate book from April. I'm pretty sure it was April. So Thistlemarsh is by Moria Corrigan. So I know that Thistlemarsh Hall is this building on the cover of the book. And basically our main character, Mouse, I think is her name. She receives news that her uncle left the hall in this crumbling manner and she inherits it, but if she doesn't rehabilitate it, then she doesn't get the inheritance. It's set in a World War I, and there's also like a fairy element to this. So our main character, Mouse Dune, she is a fairy anthropologist, and the fairies disappeared 100 years ago. I think they're trying to come back into the world or something like that. It sounds very cool. It sounds kind of like a mixture of like Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies mixed with a fantasy. So, I mean, I guess Emily Wilde's in a fantasy, but that one's a little bit different, I think, than Thistle March. Also, I haven't even read that book, so I'm such a hypocrite. I can't really speak on it all that much, but I keep wanting to read that book and then I keep not reading it. So I think I need to actually kind of stick to it and tell myself I'm gonna read it soon. But I keep getting recommended to read that one in the fall, and then the fall comes around and I don't read it because I'm reading other stuff, and then yeah. Anyways, that's not about this. Thistlemarsh is gonna be our next book on the TBR. That one was a really easy one. All right, prompt number 3 is a book you bought because of the cover. Perfect. I love buying books because of the cover. I think 50% of my book buying is because of the cover, and I am not ashamed to admit that. I think judging a book by its cover is a marketing tactic. If you don't have appealing books for people, I think they are less likely to sell. And yes, there are books that, you know, have maybe not so appealing covers that are incredible and amazing, but I think in this day and age, you do need to have kind of an appealing book cover in order to sell books. I mean, that's why like Illumicrate, Fairy Loot, Owl Crate, Bookish Box, like that's why all of those are so popular, because they redo covers and make them incredibly beautiful and aesthetic. And in my house, I like to display my books as like artwork essentially. So if they're on my shelf and stuff like that, they're on my shelf for a reason. If I don't like the cover of a book, I'm not going to buy the book. I'm just going to read it on my Kindle or my Kobo. Anyways, that was a tangent. A book I bought because of the cover. I have one that's glaringly obvious to me, and that is Quicksilver. I feel like I'm the last person on earth to read this book. But I did not buy Quicksilver because I didn't like any of the covers. That was like the primary reason that I have not read it, was because I didn't like the cover and I didn't have a physical book. And it was just, you know, it wasn't like top of mind for me. But when Target came out with this exclusive edition, then I bought it. I think this is the coolest cover for this book. I just don't like the other covers. I don't like the person cover, and I don't like just the black one. I don't know, it just like wasn't speaking to me. So I really like this blue one, and literally the only reason I bought this book was because of the cover. So this is definitely a strong contender. The same thing could be said for The Second Death of Locke, because I bought this one on Pango secondhand, and this one is still available on Owl Crate, no, Illumicrate. If you're interested in it, but I got like a bundle with a different book, so I just picked it up on Pango. But I had the same thing. I wasn't gonna buy this book because I didn't like the original cover of it until I saw the Illumicrate version. So this one could definitely be another contender. Can you tell that I like pretty books? You know, Cash is also another one that I bought because of the cover. So Cash is just a cowboy romance book. I bought this one because I thought the little designs and stuff were so cute, and I love having them all displayed on my cowboy romance shelf. So this one's another one that I would have just read on my Kindle because it's on Kindle Unlimited, but I bought it because I really liked the cover. Beautiful Things is another one that I bought because of the cover. I just thought this was beautiful, and the spray edges are like so vibrant, and all of the books in this series are like just really vibrant and pretty, so I did buy that one also because of the cover. This one's a little bit different because this is a Why Choose Romance, Regency romance, so it's definitely different than the other books that I've been reading / putting on my TBR recently. I think we can pick from this stack, right? If I do this one and I commit to this one, then I'm starting another series, which is fine because I do have the sequel to it. Not that I always want to read the sequel right after. Sometimes I like to just, you know, marinate or switch up the genre or something. But this one is quite a large book, although our other 2 books aren't like crazy long, so this one could still be an option. The only thing I really know about this book is that our main character opens like a portal to a different realm, and I believe there's fae, like a fae realm. And then The Second Death of Locke, this one is like a romance between, I don't know if she's a queen, but she's someone important, and then she has a bodyguard, and I'm pretty sure they end up like falling in love or something like that. or they're on like a quest together and then they end up falling in love. Beautiful Things, like I said, is a Why Choose Regency romance. It's giving Bridgerton, but with Why Choose, so multiple contenders. And then Cash is just your classic cowboy romance. So, which I do think kind of going into June that a cowboy romance is cute and fun. And it's like a nice little, even though it's a cowboy romance, I think it's a cute beach read type book, you know? I could just pop my tanning pool out. Not that I tan because I'm pasty white, but I can just pop my little pool out and read this in the pool and have a good old time. It is nice to kind of switch up the genre, but let me just tell you, I have been in my fantasy zone since last September. I mean, even throughout all of the summer, I read the Throne of Glass series over the summer, and I was just, ever since then, I was just like locked in on all things fantasy and like a contemporary romance. But what was that? Like, I didn't really care about those all that much. I am feeling like I'm kind of starting to get out of that. Currently I'm reading the Twisted series. So I just finished Twisted Love and I'm on Twisted, whatever the next one is, I can't remember, but the second one in the series. And that is kind of getting me back into like my contemporary romance era a little bit. So maybe Cash would be a good one. I don't think I'm really feeling Beautiful Things right now. This just isn't really on my list of books that I want to read this month. Feel like I'm mostly in between these two. So Quicksilver and the first book in the Lucky River Ranch. I think I want Quicksilver. Honestly, I think I'm in a fantasy mood. I really only want to read fantasy books, except for the stray here and there. So I think I'm finally ready to start Quicksilver. Also, this has been on my TBR cart, potentially the longest. This has been on my TBR cart for a really long time. So I think it's finally time that we get this chunker off of there. So our third book is going to be Quicksilver. I am so excited. I hate putting my books back on the cart after I pick them out because I know I'm just going to end up picking them out again. So throughout my TBR cart videos, I feel like my cart dwindles and it gets less books on it. Fourth prompt is a book you think you'll rate 5 stars. Ooh, I have not even, oh my gosh, I don't even know. The first one that came to mind was The Raven Scholar. And I have really been in like a dark academia mood, so this one would probably be a really good one for that. The other one that I think I could rate 5 stars is To Cage a Wild Bird or Silver Elite. I know people had like mixed kind of feelings about the book Silver Elite, but I personally think I'm really gonna like this, again, because I'm in a dystopian kind of era right now. I just think I would really enjoy that, but I also think I would really enjoy To Cage a Wild Bird. And you know what, because of the chunkiness of some of our books that we've already picked out, I think I'm gonna go with To Cage a Wild Bird. But I really want to read The Raven Scholar too. You know what? I think I have to pick The Raven Scholar because the more I keep thinking about it, the more I'm like, I probably will rate To Cage a Wild Bird 5 stars. But I have been, again, just like really in the mood to read academic books like dark academia, academic fantasy, anything like that. And I don't really have an academic fantasy on here. I mean, I guess Thistlemarsh maybe has a little bit of it, but it's not really like in a school setting. And I've really been into like the school setting type books. So I think I need to pick The Raven Scholar. We are gonna be in for some fat books this month. I also just love how like thick and floppy this paperback is. It's gorgeous. I do also have the audiobook for this one, so this might be a good like immersive read for me. But I'm gonna read the blurb for this one because it's quite short. It says, The Raven Scholar is a masterfully woven tale of imperial intrigue from an electrifying new voice in epic fantasy. Let us fly now to the Empire of Orun, where after 24 years of peace, the reign of Bursun the Brusque has come to an end. In the dizzying heat of midsummer, 7 exceptional warriors, thinkers, and strategists compete to replace him. When one of them is murdered, it falls to Nima Kra, the Emperor's brilliant, idiosyncratic high scholar, to find the killer and fight for the throne. Nima believes she is all alone, but we are here to help. All she has to do is let us in. If she succeeds, we will win an empire. If she fails, death awaits her, but we won't let that happen. We are the Raven and we are magnificent. That sounds so fun. It doesn't sound as dark academic-y as I was thinking though. But I still feel like I want to read this. I still feel like it's going to give me, yeah, academic-y vibes. So we're going to pick this one for our 4th book. Prompt number 5. Start of a series. Of course. Of course I would get started with a series. Why wouldn't I get started with a series? I'm just gonna run through some of the series that I have on here that I could pick from. So I have Stalking Jack the Ripper. That's the first book in that series. The Bone Shard Daughter, Lightlark, The Jasad Heir, The 9-Month Contract. This one is technically like an interconnected standalone, but I consider it part of a series. To Bleed a Crystal Bloom, For Her Good Consideration. That one is also technically the start of a series. Across the Vanishing Sky. I believe this one is the first in an interconnected standalone. Phantasma is also the first in an interconnected standalone. The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. The second book is coming out this year, so I could start that one. An Arcane Inheritance. I believe that one is also part of a series. Smoke and Scar. Silver Cloak is part of a series. Cash is part of a series. To Cage a Wild Bird is. Silver Elite. We have a lot of series. Can you tell I like a series? All right, so I think we need to maybe just pin down a genre that we want to start with. I can tell you 3 books I'm kind of eyeing right away. So Phantasma is the first. This one is the, like I said, part of an interconnected standalone. This one also has like a trials element to it, but I think, so this one also has like a trials element to it, which I know I already said, like I maybe don't want to start another book that has trials, but that might just not be a good excuse not to start that. Silver Elite, this is another one like, you know, dystopian romancy type thing. I've heard so many mixed reviews on this, but I personally think I'm really gonna like this one just because I am in my like dystopian era right now. And then To Cage a Wild Bird. This one also has trials. I think I want to do To Cage a Wild Bird, mostly because this book is pretty short and I think I need a little bit of a shorter book because I have all these chunkers on here. So I'm gonna pick To Cage a Wild Bird by Brooke Fast. This one is about a world called Endlock, and it's a prison. Actually, it's not a world. It's a world, but then there's also a prison, and the wealthy hunt inmates for sport. And I think you get into the prison, obviously by doing something like horrible and bad. Our main character, I believe she goes into the prison to help her brother, or in place of her brother or something like that. And then, yeah, it's about them like surviving or attempting to survive. I don't know if they survive, but surviving the hunting for sport. I'm gonna see which one we pick for our 6th, and we might just do 6 this month just because, again, I have such chunky books, and by chunky, I'm specifically talking about The Raven Scholar and Quicksilver. Our 6th prompt is a Dark Academia. Yay! I'm so excited. Except I don't know if I have a true Dark Academia. I think an Arcane Inheritance might be a Dark Academia. Let me pull that one out. Oh yeah, this is definitely a Dark Academia. It says, remember, Ellery Morgan is determined to prove that she belongs at Warren Oh, that scared me so bad. At Warren University, an Ivy League school whose history is deeply linked to occult rumors and dark secrets. But as she settles into her freshman year, something about the ornate buildings and shadowy paths feels strangely familiar. And with every passing day, that sense of deja vu grows increasingly sinister. Despite all logic, despite all reason, despite all the rules of reality, Ellery knows one thing to be true. She has been here before, and if she can't convince brooding legacy student Hudson Graves to help her remember a past that seems determined to slip through her fingers as if by some insidious magic, this time she might lose herself for good. This sounds so good. I cannot wait to dive right into this. That's gonna be our 6th book, and I kind of do want to pick 7 just because I'm having too much fun. I say that in every video, but I say this in every TBR video, but I just have too much fun picking them and, you know, hanging out with you guys. A fantasy! Incredible. Incredible. This entire TBR is all fantasy, and this just makes my heart like so incredibly happy. What about the Book of Blood and Roses? This one is vampires. Oh, this is another like university setting. A sadistic sapphic paranormal fantasy. This one was from my Allurial subscription. Okay, so we have a sapphic romance between a human and a vampire. Humans study along vampires in a Scottish Highland university. Our vampire hunter is looking for a book of blood and roses. So this one does seem a little bit different because it seems very like romance heavy. I also have Arcana Academy that I have not started yet. This one is really fat though. It's like, well, it's not that fat. I guess it's like 500 pages. It just looks really chunky. I actually really like reading big books. I feel like it's really satisfying for one to like read a big thick book, and I also feel like I spend more time like caring about the book just because it is bigger, and I feel like I get to spend more time getting to know everybody in the book. So I think I actually prefer longer books if it's going to be a fantasy. If it's not a fantasy, then I typically like it to be around like 350. If it's like a fantasy, dark academia, that kind of thing, and not just like a contemporary romance or something like that, I definitely prefer the books to be like 500 pages, potentially even longer. If I really just wanted to like shoot myself in the foot, I hate that phrase. I don't even know why I said that. I could pick When the Moon Hatched. I don't know if I don't think I can read Quicksilver and When the Moon Hatched in the same month. That I think would just make my brain boil a little bit. I could pick The Sun and the Star Maker. That one is a bit of a different fantasy type book because I don't have as much like YA fantasy on here. Do I want a sapphic vampire situation or The Sun and the Star Maker? This one's giving me winter vibes. I mean, obviously, look at that. Like, that's just pure winter. And we are going into summer. So I feel like maybe I should hold off on this one. I don't know if I'll be able to hold off all the way until winter comes again because it is June. But I'm just thinking maybe that's not the vibe I'm going for right now. The Wicked Sea. This one is also a fantasy mermaid romance, which I don't think I've ever read a mermaid fantasy before. Basically, it's about a mermaid that goes onto land and then she's sentenced to death. I love this cover. My one thing that I wish Allurial would do is just have cooler hardcovers underneath. That's one of the things that really separates Fairy Loot and Illumicrate and Owlcrate apart from a lot of the other subscription services, is that they have really cool like artwork on here and their covers are different. And I think if Allurial did that more, like this one was a great example because this is its own cover. Like there's not another cover that looks like this. They did their own thing with this and I think that was really smart. But I also wish that they would do that on the hardcover, and even if that increased the price of the subscription, because it is cheaper than Fairy Loot and Illumicrate, even if they increase the subscription by a couple dollars or something, I would still subscribe to it if I got a cooler hardcover, because I just think like that really sets the book apart and it adds value to the book, you know? But I actually think I'm most interested in this one out of all of the ones that I picked. So I'm gonna pick The Wicked Sea as our 7th and final book for this TBR. I'm gonna clean up my mess and then we can go through all the books again and do a little recap. For my first prompt, I picked a Fairy Loot book, and for this one, I chose The Nightblood Prince by Molly X. Chang. For my second book, I picked an Illumicrate book, and for this one I picked Thistlemarsh by Moria Corrigan. For my third prompt, I picked a book that I bought because of the cover, and for this one I picked Quicksilver by Callie Hart. For my fourth book, I picked a book that I think I would rate 5 stars, and for this one I picked The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. For my fifth prompt, I picked The Start of a Series, and for this one I chose To Cage a Wild Bird by Brooke Fast. For my sixth prompt, I picked a book that is a dark academia, and for this one I chose An Arcane Inheritance by Camilla Cole. And for my seventh and final prompt, I picked a fantasy book, and for this one I chose The Wicked Sea by Jordan Stephanie Gray. As always, I had so much fun filming this and picking my TBR prompts and choosing the books with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you've read any of these books, if they're on your TBRs, if you've chosen them for the month of June to read. I would love to hear about it. And if you guys have any other book recommendations, please let me know in the comments below, because as I said, book buying is a hobby of mine, as well as reading them. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!